Hello comic book fans, this is your host Travis Collins, aka Duck Punch, and I am back for another episode of Duck Punch Comics, here to review 4 more books that came out on September 22nd, 2010. Today we're taking a look at Uncanny X-Men number 528, Supergirl number 56, Justice League Generation Lost number 10, and Avengers Academy number 4. Now, you guys know the drill by now. We jump straight to our reviews with Uncanny X-Men number 528, written by Matt Fraction, with art by Wilce Portaccio. The story of the 5 lights continues here, and you know what? Same song, 3rd verse. A little bit louder, and a little bit, well, actually, not quite as bad, to be honest. Hope, the mutant messiah, and Storm travel to Africa to find the 3rd light, a young girl who can create both fire and ice. Unfortunately, she's under siege by local militia groups intent on killing her as a witch. Back on Utopia, Emma Frost is struggling with trying to break Sebastian Shaw's influence on her, and Namor is finding out that not all of the Atlanteans are enthused about the new status quo of their glorious leader, especially where his closeness with Emma Frost is concerned. Now, this wasn't that bad, actually. I've been kind of on an anti-Fraction kick of late, but this was pretty decent. Unlike the last couple of issues, Fraction is able to bounce between the various stories organically. He did a great job of actually making me interested in one of the new mutants. All in all, it was a good outing for a guy who I've been really unimpressed with of late. Portaccio is okay, but I still don't like him well enough to really say anything beyond that. This was surprisingly solid. There was a lot going on, but Fraction does a decent enough job of juggling it all. My only questions are, 1, where has this Fraction been for the last 20 issues or so? And 2, how long can he keep this up? That's the big question. Next up, Supergirl number 56, written by Sterling Gates, with artwork by Jamal Igle. No lie here, this book threw me through a loop. Wow. It has the one thing that I hate the most in all of the Superman franchise, all over the place. And yet, it was still just quirky enough for me to stay interested. But I'm not entirely convinced that it was all that good. I'm just a little bit confused here. Now, Supergirl and Bizarro Girl travel to Bizarro World, where they discover that not only has the planet been nearly destroyed by a strange alien invader, but that the resident superhero, Bizarro, is incapable of stopping it. Supergirl tries her hand at it, only to be seriously smacked down, forcing her to call in the big guns in the next issue. I get that Gates is trying to do something unique with the Bizarros, but trying and succeeding aren't necessarily the same thing. This whole story arc merely highlights a growing problem I've been seeing with many of the DC books, especially those that are tied into their top-tier ones, like Supergirl is Superman. All last year, we had these big, overarching stories that dictated the direction of all of the books in a given family. Well, the big stories are done. And a lot of the subsidiary titles, like this one or Green Lantern Corps, are now left without a clear direction to work toward. And it's really been killing these books, which is sad to me because I've seen them be so much better. Now, Igle continues to impress. Still very nice stuff from him. Very soon now, there's going to be a big cut in my comic list, and I really want Supergirl to stick around. But if Sterling Gates can't get back whatever mojo he had for the first 53 issues of this title, then I may have to part ways with him. Alright, next up, Justice League Generation Lost number 10, written by Judd Winnick, with artwork by Joe Bennett. Now, I've gone back and I've read this issue about 4 times now, and I'm still not sure what to say about this. It wasn't bad, not by any stretch. This was a very, very peculiar issue. It's kind of like wearing socks with sandals. Yeah, it works in theory, but something about the execution is just, I don't know, off. Now, the issue picks up with Maxwell Lord hiring Magog, whom the White Lantern, we know, has tasked him with killing to prevent a war. He's hired him to take out Captain Atom. At the same time, several superheroes, most importantly Batman and Power Girl, are beginning to struggle from underneath Max's mind wipe. And to top it all off, the JLI has figured out part of Max's plan, and they head to China, where they are confronted by a very surprising group of former allies. While Winnick's story here is alright, it just fits oddly with the pace of the rest of the comic so far. I really got the impression that this was about a third of a comic that just got blown up into a full-blown issue, but without really expanding the material. It's bothersome, but I don't know if I would commit to calling it bad or not. Bennett is still pretty solid here, not a whole lot that anyone can complain about. This was the weakest issue of this miniseries so far, but it's still decent enough not to deter me from keeping it on my pull list. It just sort of exists. So there you go. Last up, oh boy, Avengers Academy number 4, written by Christos Gage with art by Mike McCone. I'm dropping this. I'm just not interested in this, I don't know, Hot Topic presents the Avengers. It's just teenage angst that I cannot be arsed to be bothered by. I know a lot of people really like this, and I even debated it with a buddy over at the Outhouse a while back. But this just isn't my book. I'm not even going to waste the time reviewing it. I can't give it a fair review. I gave it 4 good issues to sell me, but when the rubber meets the road, this book is just boring and tedious and uninteresting. My advice, if you aren't already a big fan of Christos Gage, then just skip this one. I tried. I really did. 4 months of reading this book, thinking, oh, it'll be good. It'll sell me on itself, and nothing. I don't care. I just don't care about whiny little teenagers. Every single issue is about how Norman Osborn fucked up their life. I just don't care. I don't care. So there you go, guys. 4 more books that came out on September 22nd. This batch, one okay one, and a lot of really just sort of middling. Oh, and one that just got dropped because I just can't be bothered anymore. I'll be back later today with another episode. We're going to get all caught up from this weekend's frivolities. As always, leave comments, let me know what you thought, and I will see you guys later tonight.